What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. I'm baffled. I really am. It's another game where I really just want to get inside the manager's head and just kind of figure out what the hell he has to be thinking. Because I don't get it. I mean, after the nearly said Liverpool and Everton results, I'm thinking, okay, Tuchel seems to have finally figured it out. We're not looking to play slow, boring possession play anymore. He's actually looking to be attack-minded. We're looking to play as if we're not scared to get the ball down the field. We're not trying to play all safe and stuff. So I felt confident. I felt confident that we finally had things figured out. Tuchel knows what he wants out of his team. He knows what he wants, formation-wise and player-wise. And now it seems like he's finally getting the tactics down. And then he goes for a draw against Leeds. So either the Liverpool and Everton results were a blip in what is going to be a mediocre end of the season for us. Where we've had good, decent results, but the performances are just going to be frustrating for the rest of the season. At least for someone like me who would prefer to see us not play scared. Or today is just a blip because he was trying to rest some players for the midweek game against Atletico, but the reason I don't think that that's the case is because you've got two strikers and you rested both of them. They're not both going to play against Atletico, right? Like, one of them is going to play. So why do you not go without a striker today? Why do you switch up your back line? I need some answers for this. I need somebody to make it make sense for me. Because looking at it, the lineup, I was already confused. I'm thinking, wait, what are we doing? What? We're going with a back four? I mean, on the attack, it still turned into a back three. But when we started to defend, Chilwell drops back as a left back. Pulisic stays up the field, and Azpilicueta is our right back. So defensively, we were set up to be a back four. So not only have you switched up our back line, which has been playing the same way for the past several games, and now they have to adjust to play to a back four, also, Christensen is not good in a back four. And it was obvious in the first half. The amount of times that they managed to kind of break our back line because Christensen can't read the game well enough in a back four was apparent. Like, they looked disorganized because we haven't been playing that way. So you switch up the back line. You don't go with a recognized striker. What are you doing? I don't understand. It seemed like he had a plan. It seemed like he had an idea of what he wanted to do. Now, I don't mind the fact that he's willing to adapt. I've talked before, about Sarri and Lampard this season. They got stuck in their ways. They couldn't adapt. They couldn't change what they were doing, and it hurt us because teams figured us out. And whenever we needed to switch up how we were playing or the formation a little bit, maybe switch up a couple players that didn't need to be in there, they couldn't do it. They couldn't bring themselves to make any changes, and we just kept being the same. And the results kept being the same. Tuchel has shown he's willing to adapt. He's willing to make some changes. He's willing to let some players play consistently, and he's also willing to switch up players on a daily basis. So he's shown that he's willing to adapt, but this adaptation makes no sense. Adaptation. This doesn't make any sense. Because you don't adapt your game when you're playing a team that's lower than you. And yeah, Leeds, they're lower than us. I'm not trying to offend any Leeds fans that might, for some reason, be watching this, but, I mean, they're not as good as we are. They're fast, they're athletic, they're not talented. Their best game comes from they put pressure. They put a lot of pressure. And very well organized pressure too. Bielsa sets his team up to do that. So we know what to expect. You don't adapt your game to adjust for them. You don't adjust for Leeds. You adjust for Man City. You maybe adjust for Man U at Old Trafford if the fans are there. You don't adjust for Leeds. That's why I don't understand why he made these changes today. And again, if it was just to rest some players, if he made a couple changes and he had to adjust the formation to fit certain players because he wanted to rest others, fine, whatever. But the players he's resting doesn't make sense because they're probably not going to play midweek either. He's not going to play Timo and Giroud midweek. He's probably going to end up playing Mount again midweek. He's probably going to end up playing Conte again midweek. I expect to see that back three, again. So I don't understand why he did all of what he did. And it killed us. I mean, honestly, the game started off decently enough, but we were open. It was very clear we were open. And then it's almost like to adjust for that, then we changed up how we were playing. We went straight back to that same old boring, slow possession, which then suited Leeds. Because we weren't creating as many chances, and then they were making their own luck, creating chances. I fully expected them to pick it off at the end of the game. And then thankfully Bamford got hurt, so he wasn't there to do that for them, because that's generally what he does. So, I mean, we were set up to lose this game. And we got lucky, I think, to come away with a draw. So I really need some explanation from Tuchel on what the hell he was thinking. Because none of it made sense today. The switches he made absolutely no sense. And it hurt us. So it's unfortunate because talking individually about the players, I mean, it's really hard to judge them because I feel like a couple of them were not really given, I think, the best setup for them to work. A lot of it comes from how is the manager setting up the formation and then how is he setting up the style of play. And if he doesn't set it up right for certain players, they're going to be hurt by that. And I think a couple were. So I feel like it's going to be a little unfair judgment on some of them. But at the same time, there are also a couple players that didn't do their jobs well enough. So I'll talk about them as well. But starting from Mendy, Mendy had a good game. He had to make some great saves because Leeds are going to put you under pressure. They're going to create some good chances. They're a team, they make their own luck, and that's what I wish we would do more often. We would throw some more guys into the box and then just, especially whenever a team's packing it in, just throw it into the box and see what happens. But instead, we don't do that, and that's why the other keeper hardly gets tested. But Mendy got tested today. He had to come up with some great saves, and he kept us in the game 2 or 3 times. So, fantastic game from him, and it's because of him that we managed to keep a point at least out of this game. Back 3, 4, whatever you want to call it. I'll start first from, I guess, the right. Azpilicueta, he looked a little uncomfortable, and I kind of understand because, again, the way that we were set up is whenever we're going forward, it's kind of a back 3, but then whenever they're coming at us, now we have to shift a little bit. Now he has to come out to the right side and be a right back, and then Chilwell becomes our left back. It didn't feel right, and I think it looked awkward at times because you're having to do a lot of adjusting on that. And I don't know, it feels weird that we're trying to play that kind of adaptable back line against a team that really you don't need to adapt your back line a whole lot. The way we normally set up would have been perfectly fine, because they like to just throw it forward and go. And the way we normally set up does well to prevent that. You've got Christensen, who's kind of the deeper man reading everything, and he can pick off those balls that maybe are over the top of Rudiger or Azpilicueta. And if he gets beat, Rudiger and Azpilicueta generally are the 2 flanking center backs that, they have the pace to make up for that, and they can help get behind and help out. So normally we're set up very well for that, but today, again, the way we're set up, it doesn't allow for that. So Azpilicueta now having to play out on the right side, I feel like he's kind of hindered out there. He's not really able to help out defensively as much. He had a couple good moments, but for the most part, it looked like he was out of position because I think he was. Christensen, same thing. Like I said, at the center of that back 3, I think he does fine. I think he's good with his feet, so it's good for him to be the center of the 3 whenever we have possession. And also, I think there are times whenever he gets caught out of position a lot. So if he's in the center, 1, he doesn't have the ability to step out as much because he needs to be the deeper man. But also, if he does step out, now he's got the 2 to help him out. But today, if he's on the right side of a back 4, he's the right center back. Now he can't step out as much as he wants to, and he also can't sit deeper and read the game. So it's like he's not helped by this. I don't think he's there, to be one of two center backs. So I really don't understand why he was put there, but I thought he did okay, considering that. Like, I feel like there were a couple times that he did get caught out or he didn't read the game quick enough. But for the most part, like, I felt like he did well enough. And yeah, I mean, that's for him, I think that's really good. So again, I don't understand the thinking. Most of this review, I feel like, is just going to be going like, why? Because I'm still so confused by it. Rudiger, did well. I think probably I would say probably our best outfield player. Just because not only did he perform well defensively, but also he looked to be one that was willing to make runs and actually like cause some trouble. Where our play really stagnated after the first like 15 minutes. He was one that was willing to like move it quickly and get down the field. His runs really caused some problems and opened up some spaces. Unfortunately, he was the only one that was really looking to do that for most of the game. So a little disappointing for that. But yeah, overall, I mean, I was pleased with his performance. I really feel like he's showing what he's capable of. When last season he really had a bit of a slip up after the lockdown, so good for him to get there. Chilwell really did everything he could today to make sure Alonso plays midweek. And again, it's funny because it's not like Alonso's doing anything super spectacular. After the first game, I've talked about this. He played well against Burnley, but then after that, he's just kind of been out there. He's not really been providing a whole lot. He's been okay. But of course, everybody's talking about he's what changed it. It's not really him, but he has shown a little bit more on the ball than Chilwell has. And Chilwell, again today, just didn't show me anything. And I'm like, do you want to win your spot back? Because right now, everybody's talking about Alonso. Not that he's doing anything really spectacular, but he's at least getting involved. You're not getting involved in the right ways. Your involvement is giving the ball away, or your involvement is you're now tracking back and having to play it backwards, which is not what we need. So, yeah, I don't know. It feels like he's just sort of content to be like, oh, well, I guess I'll just go out there and play today, and oh well, I guess Alonso's got it on lock. Like, I'm not a wingback. You could be. Like, I don't understand. Does he really feel out of place at left wing back? Because it feels like that should be a good position for him. He should be good enough on the attack. That's one of the reasons we brought him in, and he's not showing me that. So I don't know. He's got some growing to do though, and it's disappointing because again, I feel like he could be better than Alonso. He could provide more than Alonso. He's got more pace, so he should be able to drive down that left side with some energy and some tenacity, and he's not. He's just sort of, okay, well, I'll cut back. And now I'm dribbling backwards. And now I've got two guys pressuring me. And now I can only go backwards. Oh, well. It happened like several times, like 3 or 4 times today. So, yeah, pretty much nothing from him. Jorginho and Conte in the middle. Jorginho, this was not his game. It should have been Kovacic in there. I thought that as soon as I saw the the roster and I saw he was playing, I'm thinking, no, this is not Jorginho's game. They play with pace. They come at you with pace. They put high pressure on. Jorginho can't play under that high pressure, and he didn't. He didn't play today much. He was just sort of there. Defensively, again, he's not good enough. So, I don't know. I don't know why people don't see this. I don't know how it can be so hard to see, oh, this is going to be a game where the other team puts super high pressure and they're very fast. Let's put our slowest player out there. Brilliant. Conte, probably our second best player after Rudiger. He had to work very hard defensively because we were under so much pressure, but I also felt like there were several times that he managed to get us out of that pressure a little bit, either by his clearances or by his quick turns and kind of opening up the space. So, I thought overall he played well, and if he had a better partner, our midfield probably would have looked a little bit more solid, but for what it was, I felt like he did well. And even in the attack, I'll give him that too. Like, I felt like he really helped us with his movement mainly. Now on to the other part of the field. Yeah, I don't even know where to start. I'll start with the most, I guess, disappointing of the front four. Mount, as a player who has been really influential on our attack all season. Under Lampard, under Tuchel, he's been the focal point. He's been just a ball of energy. Yeah, he was awful today. This is the player that I think when he has these games, those Mount haters, the ones that kept saying, "Oh, it's Lampard's son. Oh, it's Southgate's son." Those guys that don't want to give him any credit for some reason. These are the games that they'll point out and be like, "See, he doesn't have it in him." Um, and every player is going to have their bad games, but yeah, today he was not good. It just felt like he was a step slower than every other Leeds player, and he's not normally like that. I don't know. It was all of our front four, but from him especially, he's generally a player that he reads the game well, and he knows what he wants to do with it before he gets there. Today it seemed like he had no clue what he wanted to do with it, so he receives it, takes a touch, and he gets tackled. It happened way too much. Havertz, I'll talk about next because probably not the worst performance from him, but definitely after the Everton game, I expected to see a bit more. And playing as a false nine, I don't think that's his position, so I'll grant him that. But yeah, I feel like he should have done a bit more today. There were times that he had opportunities to finish for us, and he didn't. So that was probably the biggest disappointment from him, is he was the one who had the best opportunities to put the game, in our favor, and couldn't find the goal. So, but aside from that, it was okay. He fought hard. I thought he really worked hard too, especially not being in his position. But yeah, we needed a finishing touch today, and he wasn't providing it. So, but yeah, then the other two players that are in desperate need of a good game, and neither of them had it today. Ziyech, Pulisic, I did nothing, in my opinion, to convince anyone that they deserve to start. And it's disappointing. I mean, both of them have had their moments where they've been brilliant. But today shows they've lost it, and they haven't found it yet. For Pulisic, started the game well. He had a lot of good runs. He put them under good pressure. But it's almost like it wasn't even just him. Like, everybody on the pitch slowed down after 15 minutes. And for him especially, that's not his game. I still remember there was a moment where we were moving the ball around a little bit, and then it goes out to him on the right side, and he takes a touch and he stands on it. And if that were Hazard, I'm thinking, okay, so he's going to wait for him to commit, and then he's going to take it around him and go. But he's not Hazard. And I think we should have already realized this by now. Like, he's not Hazard. That's not his game. His game is he's quick. He moves it very quickly. When he's on the run, he's dangerous. Because he's very good at making that quick touch, and now the defender's committed, and he's either beat them or they've taken him down. But he's not good from a standstill. That's not his game. He's not good at stop. Now come at me and I'll take you on. That's not him. And it felt like once the team slowed down, so did he. And he's not good enough when we're doing that. So, yeah, I don't know if that was the instruction from the manager is, hey, let's take a little bit slower. We're moving too quickly for our own good, and it's hurting us. Because honestly, I felt like when we were moving it quickly, yeah, we were a bit open. But again, I think that was more a defensive setup than anything else. But when we were moving it quickly, we were creating a lot of troubles for them. We were actually making opportunities for ourselves. When we started to slow it down and start to play our own style of slow possession play, which leads to no chances, it also benefits Leeds because now they can just sit back and just wait for us to give it away. And not even sit back, but they can essentially just sort of have their defense hold. They don't really have to do much with their defense. They don't have to keep their midfield back. They can just, all right, organize pressure. And they did that, and we kept giving it away. And I know I've kind of gone back to our style of play, but I mean, it really does relate to how Pulisic plays. Because if we're not moving the ball quickly and if we're not looking to drive at them, he's not going to be effective. And then Ziyech, I mean, had a couple of his classic, like swirled left foot crosses. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But those driven with a little bit of swirl on it, great crosses. Love it when he does that. Twice today. Every other time, it's like he's never played before. I I lost count of how many times pass comes into him, touch is now 10 yards over there, losing out to the defender. Did you forget how to take a touch? Did you forget how to settle the ball? I mean, my God. I, I, I couldn't believe it. The fourth or fifth time that happened in the first half, where pass comes into him and his touch took him away 5 or 10 yards, and it wasn't like it was one of those take a touch into space and run onto it. It was a bad touch that then gave it away to the defense. Or some of his passes. I talked about the crosses that can be brilliant. Most of them today were not. Most of them were just dumped, hopeful balls that ended up in the keeper's hand or out of bounds. What are you doing? Do you want to win your spot back? Because you were given some chances that you didn't impress in, and now you're given another chance where, I mean, honestly, nobody else is taking up the chance. You should be the one to take up the... He's not. So, I don't know. It felt like all of our front four today were just lost. And again, is that because we're not playing with a recognized striker? I don't know. I mean, it can hurt you whenever you don't have somebody up top that you know what he's going to do. With Giroud, you know he's going to be in there to receive it to his feet, or you can look to get a cross in, and he's probably going to be on the end of it. With Werner, you know he's going to make runs in behind. You know he's going to cause the defense to have to drop back a little bit, or else they're going to get beat behind for pace. And you don't have either of them in today. So, did that hurt them? Maybe. But I still feel like these players are talented enough to figure out how to adjust to that. So it's not just... I've complained about Tuchel a lot. The players are at fault too for their part in it. Like, they've got to figure things out, and they're talented enough to figure things out. But are they smart enough? That's where I don't know. Like, they don't seem to be based on today's game. But yeah, so overall, just really, really disappointing from an attacking point of view. Like, this is a game that it seemed like we were more focused on trying to keep the clean sheet again, which is, 5 clean sheets in a row. Whoop-de-doo. Meanwhile, West Ham, Everton, Tottenham, Liverpool all have a chance to gain 2 points on us. But we kept 5 clean sheets in a row, guys. So, that was frustrating. The subs that came on didn't do much to affect it. James, just like Chilwell, I mean, what are you doing? What are you providing for us? Absolutely nothing. He's one that still, every time he receives it, he should look to drive, but he never does. And honestly, again, I don't know why Hudson-Odoi is not the first choice out there. Werner came on at the same time for Ziyech. Didn't provide a whole lot. He came into a game where essentially Leeds, I think they were looking more to just kind of sit back and maybe look to counter a bit more. They weren't pressing us as high at the point that Werner came on. And also, they do it in a way where their defense does not sit super high like Liverpool does. So there isn't a whole lot of space for him to get in behind, so it's not really a game for him anyway. And then Hudson-Odoi came on, affected the game a little bit. He did come on with a bit of energy and actually created a couple chances near the end. But it was a little too late for him. Should have come on a lot sooner. Should have started at right wing back, to be honest. But, yeah, again, from Tuchel's point of view, I have no idea what's going through his head. I have no idea why he's making these changes. What could have possibly made him think that this was a good idea? I have no idea. It's just really boggling to try to comprehend the thought process that led to, let's go with no recognized striker today. And also, let's switch up our defense today. But then from the player's point of view, I mean, aside from our defense and our keeper, nobody really showed out today. Nobody took advantage of the fact that, all right, hey, he's resting a couple players for midweek. I'm going to take this chance to show him what I can do against a lesser side. None of them did. There were flashpoints where we looked good, mainly the first 15 minutes, and then there were a couple late on in the second half. But for the most part, it was boring. It was slow. It was Leeds' game. It's exactly what they want from us. They want us to sit back, keep possession. they're just going to keep putting pressure on us until we give it away, and then they come right back at us. It's how they play. It's how they're set up to play, and we should know that. I knew that going into the game. But does Tuchel? Doesn't seem like it. So, all in all, disappointing, frustrated. I don't even, like, that's the thing. Watching the Man U West Ham game tomorrow, now I don't know who I want to win. Because if we had won, then it's like, okay, well, now if West Ham wins, it's all right because we won too. So now they're not going to, they're still a couple points, or they're still 3 points behind us. I think. No, it would still be 2 points, 1 point behind us. I don't remember. But, if we win today, then West Ham winning doesn't bother me. But now that we didn't win, now either West Ham's going to go level on points with us, or Man U is going to go 2 points clearer of us than they already were. And if it's a draw, then fantastic. Now nothing gained, nothing lost. But then, Everton can still win today. I can't remember who they play. Leicester's likely going to win, so they're going to pull further ahead from us. Tottenham and Liverpool are not too far behind. I mean, it's just, tying today does absolutely nothing but hurt us. If you lose, even worse. But, God, at least try to look like you're winning. I gotta go eat. I'm hungry. I'm angry. It's not a good combination. So, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on the game? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all the good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next game. Peace out.